Hello and welcome to my show Indus Cuisine. I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with another new recipe from the heart of Pakistan. Today's recipe is very easy and it is by far one of the most easily acceptable recipes throughout the world. We're making kofta. As everyone knows, kofta has originated from Persia. Back in the day when koftas were made, it meant to pound meat. Now, because technology has come and because machines are advanced and people have gone towards the chopping technique, so now you make beef mince. But before that, what people used to do back in the day in Persia was they used to take a piece of meat, slam it on a piece of marble and make it into a paste. And then they used to convert it into meatballs and then they used to call it kofta. Kofta came to Pakistan through the Afghan route when all these Mughal emperors came and they brought with them the concept of making meatballs, which is known as kofta in Pakistan. But as we know that the spices in the subcontinent in Pakistan are very different from that of Persia and in Afghanistan. So what happened was when the spices of the subcontinent mixed with the beef mince and the koftas, then the recipe of Pakistani kofta curry came into being. It's actually called Pakistani Koftay ka Saalan in our language, but it's a very long name and it would be very difficult for me to explain it to you. So the easier way to put it is Pakistani kofta curry. So this recipe will be made in two parts. There you can see a lot of ingredients in front of you. The first part would be making the meatballs. Once you're done making the meatballs, what we'll do is we'll make the curry. So you can see the ingredients over here and then you can see the ingredients over here. They're two different ingredients and these are two different steps. So what you need in the beginning for the kofta, for the meatballs itself, is around 750 grams of beef mince, and you need to tell your beef supplier that you want a beef mince in which you have 30% fat and 70% lean meat, and then you'll get something like this in which you'll see some white particles and also some red meat. Why? Because when you will cook it, the fat will melt and the flavor will enhance. Then you need some oil. But this oil is not for the recipe. This oil is for something I'll let you know when I'm making the koftas. Then you need around 2 green chilies. I'll use one because these are bigger ones. And I've taken these ones. Why? Because the bigger the green chili, the less spicy it gets and you can get more flavor from the skin. Then you need 1 egg. Egg will bring the meat together. It will bind it together. And when you're cooking it, it won't fall apart. Then you need some ginger garlic, around 4 cloves of garlic and around a tablespoon of ginger we will shred and we will add to the meat. Then you need some coriander powder, you need some cumin powder, turmeric powder, red chili powder, you need some garam masala, around 1 teaspoon, salt to taste, and you need some gram flour, also known as chickpea flour. So it's a very easy recipe. How you need to go about it, I'll let you know, but we shall go step by step for this. So firstly, what you need is you need to chop and shred some things. So first we'll take a grinder or a shredder, and then you will take some garlic pieces. I split the garlic into half. So 2 equals to 1, and then we have 3 pieces. 3 pieces you need to shred really finely. And once these are done, we shall add it to the beef mince. And then you have to make the koftas, the meatballs, and how you shall do it, I'll let you know. I'll give you a small tip also. Why? Because usually people ask me that whenever we're making koftas or we're making meatballs and when we cook them, they start falling apart. There's a very easy and a very secret technique all the leading restaurants or the Michelin star restaurants use. What we do is we basically hit the meatballs between our hands before we put them in the food. Why? What happens because of that is the meat comes together, and when the meat comes together, it forms into a proper shape and it won't fall apart. Basically, it will bind together properly. You need around a tablespoon of ginger also. So the garlic's here, and now we go in with the ginger. You might be thinking the stove is empty because right now we won't be cooking, we shall cook later on. And we have a tablespoon of ginger also. Keep this on the side, now you don't need it. And now you shall take some mint, around a tablespoon. So what I'll do is I'll just pull the leaves and put them over here. Why? Because you do not use the stem. It's a little hard and it won't, you can say, get soft when it's cooking with the meat. So only the leaves go in. But if you see the thin part of the stems, like for example this part can go in because it's the tip of the mint. So I think this much is more than enough. And now what we'll do is we will finely chop this. So if you see a bigger stem, just pull it out. And just the leaves or the small stems. This goes in the dustbin. And now you shall just hold it, bring it close like this. Keep bringing it close. Roll it. And finally chop it. Turn it around. This is done. The mint goes on the side now. So now we have mint, ginger and garlic. The third thing is coriander. Around 2 tablespoons of this approximately. I've taken the down stems off, the ones that go into the ground, which is dusty and muddy. Chop them off always. Finally chop this. We don't need this much, we'll just throw it on the side. And this is done. Okay, so the knife goes on the side. And now what you need to do is you need to assemble it. So I'll take a big mixing bowl, it's over here. It comes on this side. Okay, so firstly what we'll do is we'll add the meat to it. Cut the cling wrap, toss the meat in, and now start mixing all the ingredients. So firstly what you'll do is I'll show you over here. We shall change the board momentarily. Keep this here. The stove's off, so it's cold, it's all right. Pick up a fresh red board, it's for the meat. Transfer this over here and spread it out. So flatten the beef mince. As you can see, there are white particles in this, and then there's red. The white particle is the beef fat, which is the 30% of this total mixture, and then there is the red part, which is the lean meat. When this comes together, the flavor enhances, and when the white part will melt out, basically why? Because when you give heat to fat, it starts melting out, the flavor is going to get better. So this is done. Just flatten it out. Now you need to add the spices. First we go in with the cumin powder, spread it out. Then we need the coriander powder. Then some turmeric powder. Then you need red chili powder. Then some salt. I'll use half a teaspoon. So I'll just spread it out like this. Not too much. Then you need some garam masala. Not too much. It's a very strong spice, so you just need a little bit, it goes a very long way. And then you need some gram flour, which is also known as the chickpea flour. This is done. Spread out like this. Just mix it. On the meat, you can see the spices and the gram flour mixing properly. And now we add the ginger, the garlic, some mint, and then in the end we'll add the chopped coriander. This is done. Now fold it like a cigar. Bring it back, press it, and then mix it like a dough. You'll see some of the spices coming out, but the more you'll put your hands in and you'll massage it properly, it will get integrated well. So just keep mixing it. And I'm using a flat board. Why? Because this is the easier way of integrating all the spices rather than using a bowl. What we can do is, if you have time, let this rest for at least half an hour in a fridge in the bowl. But because we're doing it right now for you, so we'll let it rest around 10 to 15 minutes. So just keep massaging it. You're seeing that the meat is coming together. And the spices are also getting mixed properly. So now this is done. Just pass your fingers through it like this. It's a bit labor intensive, but it goes a long way when it comes to the flavor. This is done. Now you need a bowl. Pick up the bowl, place it here. I'll just take a tissue paper first. And I'll just wipe the spices off from here because it's not visually very pleasing when you have something on your counter. This is done. Throw it on the side. Now what you need to do is spread it out again. Take an egg. Crack it. Throw it and place it in the bowl. Break the yolk and put it in. This is done. This goes on the side. Now what you need to do is you need to change the board again. But before that, I'll rinse my hands once. And then switch the board on the side for a bit. This goes here. I'll bring this back. These are all the herbs, so it's completely all right, don't worry. We can just, if you like, push this on the side. We're using it. We'll take a green chili, take the stem off, throw it in the dustbin, and then we shall slit it from between, and then finally chop it. Move it and keep chopping it till it's a little finer than the stripes or the strips we're cutting. Okay, so this is done. Smells really nice. And we shall add this over here in the egg. In the egg, take a lemon. We need around a tablespoon of lemon juice. Squeeze it in the egg. So the pits or the seeds are over here. We'll take it out. Throw the lemon on the side just for some citrusy kick. Now take this board, put it on the side again, bring back the red board and keep it up on top of it. Now start mixing it properly. So first what I'm doing is I'm just mixing the egg and the lemon juice, you can see over here, and the green chilies. It's formed into a thick paste. Now I'll mix it with the meat. Why am I doing this? The only reason is when you do this, what happens is the egg will hold the meat together and it won't fall apart. And you use a bowl, why? Because you don't want the egg to go on the side. Okay, so this is done. Pick a plate, keep it here. And now start making the meatballs. So for that, first what you'll do is you'll take some oil. Just dip your hands in the oil like this. The other one. And rub the oil on your hands. Now you'll be like, why is he playing with the oil? I'll let you know just in a second. I'm just going to rub it. Now what will happen is when I'll just pick the beef up, you'll see the beef will slip, won't stick to my hands. And when I hit it, I'll get a perfect texture on top. So keep hitting it like this. I'm not playing with it, but what I'm doing is I am bringing the texture together, and like this the beef won't fall apart. So one of the meatballs is ready. You can see it's so beautiful. It shall go here. Then just lightly dip it in the oil again, because you've once completely submerged your hands in oil. And what I'll do is I'll make around 8 to 10 of these meatballs. So till the time I'm doing this, go for a short break. When we're back, we'll start cooking and we'll finish this recipe, this delicious recipe in front of you. Welcome back. So during the break, what I did was I just made these meatballs. They're raw. What I'll do now is I'll keep them in the fridge, because when I need to add them, then I shall put them out. And if you put them in the fridge for at least 10 minutes, what will happen is the meat will get cold, it will come together and it won't fall apart. So I'll keep it back over there. Now we shall start with the recipe. Firstly, what we need is we need some clarified butter, which I've kept over here. I'll put around half a cup of clarified butter. And we shall bring this heat. I'll put the bottle over here. And now, firstly, what you need is you need around 2 onions. The onions are here. And we shall finely slice them, not chop them. So the root is off already. Just finely chop these. Two onions, that's about it. This is done. So what we'll do is we'll bring the pan to heat now, increase the heat to around full. When the oil is hot, we should toss the onions in and get them to light brown, not dark brown. Why? Because the flavor changes. So translucent are sweet. Then what you do, if you take it to light brown, the flavor changes to a little bit of bitterness, which will obviously come down when we add tomatoes to it. And then in the end, if you take it back to dark brown, it gets really bitter, and that's where the color of the recipe also changes a lot. Okay, so as you can see, the clarified butter has melted down. What we'll do is we'll add the onions first and let them sweat. So add the onions, they're sliced, so I can pick them up like this. I don't need my knife to act like a transferring spoon, which I usually do. This is here. Toss them and add some salt. Right now I'll add only half a teaspoon of salt on the onions. It will help them sweat even more. Okay, so mix them up. Coat them with the clarified butter, known as ghee in our language, local language. Reduce the heat to medium. You don't want to overcook it a lot. Give it a lid and let them sweat. Okay, so let me check the temperature of the heat. Now it's towards medium low. I'll rinse my hands once. And now we shall continue. So now what you need is, you need around 4 tomatoes, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We shall take the eye of the tomato off, and then we shall just put them in the food processor and convert them into a paste. So just make them into 4 halves. That's about it. Keep the eye of the tomato on the side and just put them and blend them till they convert into a fine paste. This is done. Take these, throw them on the side, and now transfer this to a blender. If you have a good high quality blender, you should always get the perfect outcome and the perfect texture. Why? Because at times we do not invest into these things, and what happens then is you get this weird coarse type of a texture of anything you're blending. So just give it a lid and blend it. This is done. Let it be over here. Just move here and see and mix it up once more. You can see the onions are frying, and you just want them to get light brown, not too darker. Okay, so give it a lid again. Let them get less, like let them shrink when they're cooking. So I shall reduce the heat even more because I don't want them to get brown. Okay, now what you need to do is you need some ginger and garlic. What I'll do is, these are half cloves, so 1, 2 and 3 cloves are more than enough, and ginger, that's more than enough too. So what you need to do is just use some tissue and take away the tomato juice. Why? Because your knife will slip otherwise. Throw this over here and just get the shredder back. Okay, so first we shall shred the garlic. Be careful whenever you're shredding, you don't want your hand to come in between and give you deep cuts. This part of the garlic goes into the dustbin. Shake it up, push it on the side. Now you need the ginger. Keep it here. Shred it even more. Just be careful with your hand. This is done. Throw it in the dustbin. You don't need this anymore. Rinse your hands once more. And this is done. Okay, now coming back to the onions. Take the lid off so that they start going a bit down. Okay, increase the heat. And now what you need is, you need the garlic in, the ginger in, and mix it up properly. So mix it in the oil and properly mix it through and through. Now you need to pick up a scissor from the cabinet behind. Now what I'll do is, I'll keep this on the side, bring the onions to a corner. Now just look what I'm doing. Take a knife and just cut through them. I'm basically chopping them as they're cooking. Mix them up once more and bring them on the side again. Chop them. This is done. Now you can see the onions are converting into this nice fine mashed paste. Okay, now we shall start adding the spices. Okay, what are the spices that will go in? First goes in the cumin. So what I'll do is, I shall push the onions on the side, let the clarified butter come over here and add the cumin. Why? Because the cumin will fry and the flavor will get even more. So the cumin is frying on this side. The flavor shall be released. Then you need some coriander powder, which is over here. On the other side, why? Because we need the flavor to come out. Mix it up on this side so that it's frying over here. So I'm basically making portions in the same cooking pot. Then you need some turmeric, which goes over here, increasing the flavor as we go. Let it cook, let the flavors come out. Then you need around 4 to 5 pieces of cloves. I'll put it over here. Red chili powder goes in between. And now you shall add a pinch of salt on top. That's it. And in the end, around 3 to 4 sticks of cinnamon. I'm using 3 to 4 sticks. Why? Because they're basically half. So basically you just use 2 long ones. And now mix all of this properly. And now you can see the color is also changing. The flavor is also basically coming out. And how I can tell about the flavor? Because I can smell it. Okay, so this is done. So now you can see the flavors are properly integrated, mixed properly. Give it a lid and take a green chili. Okay, so we shall cut this from here. Keep this on the side. It's being funny with me. And just cut it like this, like thick pieces. Pick it up. and toss it in. Now what you need to do is you need to start mixing it. Why? Because I want it to fry right now just for a bit so that the flavor of the green chili gets into the oil properly. Give it like 25 to 30 seconds, not much. I've covered it in oil, sorry, the clarified butter. This goes here. Now just mix this up once. This is done. First goes in the paste. And around half a cup of water, not too much. Mix this beautiful dish together. And now you might be thinking, where are the meatballs? Now the meatballs shall come and they shall cook in this nice delicious tomato sauce. Not in the water, not fried, but in this delicious aromatic tomato sauce. Okay, now what we shall do is we shall get the meatballs and place them in it. So it doesn't go like this. What you need to do is pick it up, first reduce the heat, place them in this, give it like around half an inch of space. I'll show you how. As you can see, there's some space. Why? Because when it's going to start bubbling, the flavor is going to start jumping and it's going to feel delicious. Okay, keep placing them like this. You can increase the sphere, the circle, and add some in between. They'll make space themselves, don't worry. And this is done. Now, just take half a cup of water, pour it around and a bit, just half a cup. Take some yogurt and try spreading it out between these beautiful koftas, the meatballs. And in the end, take half a teaspoon of salt and try putting it over the meatballs. Why? Because they'll absorb it. And it's done. Give it a lid, bring the heat up, rinse your hands once, clear this place out, and let this cook for 10 minutes once it comes to boil, which it shall right now. And then I shall give it a lid for 10 minutes on medium low heat. Why? Because you just want the bubbles to go around this and the paste will get smoother, delicious, and the flavor and the oil or the ghee is going to come up. So now the boil has come, reduce it and let it cook for 10 minutes. Till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll clear it out and we shall start dishing it out in front of you. As you can see, today's recipe is ready. I've taken out around a serving for 3 people. You can serve it with pita bread like the Turkish people do, and in Pakistan also pita bread is used, but more of naan bread is used. But these are the breads which are easily available throughout the world. And also you can use some bread, for example, like the croissant, or you can use a French baguette and you can have it with this. Why? Because it's delicious. It has like this nice curry, this nice sauce, and the meatballs are ready. Today's recipe was very easy and I'm going to have a feast after this episode. I hope you liked it. I'll see you in another episode with a new recipe from the heart of Pakistan. Signing out. Take care. Bye-bye.